And that's funny.
All right, we live. We live. We'll wait a few minutes for everybody to get in, man. And
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
not gonna tell everybody what happened to me, how it cramped up like that.
Oh man, my brother was locked up like Akon.
Man, come on in, come on in, come on in,
Let's talk about it.
come on in. We had a big one yesterday. It was an explosive one yesterday, and we're gonna talk about it. Come on in. Give them a couple seconds just to come on in here.
Let's talk about it. Trojan family, let's talk about it.
Come on in. We got them coming in here, man. So we just wanna KB17. What's the word? Keith, what's the word? You know
What's
Keith
up?
John. You know
What's
Keith.
up,
He
big?
played in
What's up, big brother
1985
Keith?
Rose Bowl team with USC.
What's up, big brother
Roger
Keith?
Dodger, what's up, my man? Johnny Carter, what's up, my man? Guy Smith, what's up? Willis, what's the word?
Can
Uh,
you can you hear me all right, brother?
I hear you real loud and clear, loud and
All
clear.
right.
Man,
All right.
listen, we gonna talk about it. We want to talk about this today, man. It was a huge victory, man, and crazy enough, oddly enough, I watched a couple podcasts, man. They try to give me flashbacks, man. Some of these other podcasts, man, and
Oh
they
no.
had me thinking Fresno State was gonna creep up, but I already knew what we knew, and so man, defense is getting it done. Absolutely, KB17. So we're gonna talk about this. And John was on the sideline. He was there. I seen a couple of flicks. I wish I could have uh, recorded that, but I seen a couple of flicks. He was on the field, man. The guys was looking good. He's gonna give us a on-field perspective, and we just want to talk about some stuff that we've seen. And I got a couple questions for you, John, as to the good, the bad, the ugly player of the game, defensive player of the game, offensive player of the game. So we'll talk about it, man. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Happy Victory Sunday. Happy Victory Sunday, Trojan family.
Absolutely.
I'm actually in Venice Beach right now, hanging out with my family. But you know, we got to take a little time out and tap in and fellowship with the USCJ fam. Let's get
That's
it.
it. That's it. And so we want to get the perspective, man. You was on the sideline, and like I said, I seen some of the videos you sent, man. And those guys they look good, man. They look big, but your overall perspective, man, your initial reaction. I always do one live for the day after, well, the day of, and but that was just a little small one. Um, your overall reaction, your initial reaction, and I'm a like we did last time. As the comments come through, I'm just going to say some of these comments, and one guy in particular, Brian Hanley says, USC, Jay, Big John Walker, how you brothers doing? Hey, we
Doing
appreciate
well.
you, man. We
Blessed.
doing good,
Blessed.
man. All is well. So overall reaction to what we seen last night.
So, man, this team is gonna give me heartburn. I'm telling, I'm telling you right now. These guys are gonna cause me to have an ulcer, because I'm the thing that is very clear and abundant is that they are willing to fight to the death. That is
Yeah,
that is the one thing above all. I was in the tunnel pregame. I got to see them kind of fellowshipping and like kind of rocking with they all had their Beats headphones on. Shout out to Big Kalen for helping hooking everybody up with those.
yeah,
But you could tell everybody was locked in, and it seemed to me like these dudes knew that they were in for a very physical evening,
yeah,
and they brought it. I mean, they brought it. So I mean, most of these guys wouldn't even make eye contact with with all of the media that was like corralling them in the tunnel. And
yeah,
to me, that was a very astute sign that they were locked in.
yeah,
They no distractions. I mean, screaming fans, everybody. The Coliseum was rocking. You know, it was like nearly 40,000 more people in the Coliseum last night than it was in the first season opener, and the energy was just it was just a prime opportunity for those
yeah,
guys to fumble the bag. It really was.
yeah,
Like that could have been a disastrous trap game if these young men weren't already locked in. But I knew that they still had a bitter taste in their mouth from the third and fourth quarter of the Stanford game.
right.
So they came out there and it looked like they were ready to assassinate somebody. I was very excited to see that hunger in their eyes. I know the philosophy of the defense. I know it. It's a bend but don't break style. And I think we are just so nitpicky and so accustomed to like having things the way we want them to be.
Right, right, right.
While like as you would say, we're getting lost in the sauce and not appreciating
Yeah,
the poetry of what it is that this defense is doing and
right.
how it actually demoralizes an offense for them to move the ball 80 yards down the field.
Man.
I mean, fluidly move the ball 80 yards down the field and get to
Yeah,
that red zone and hit the Great Wall of China. Just boom.
yeah, yeah.
Thou shalt not pass. Like that's, and I can see how frustrated. Like I sent you clips, and maybe I didn't send them all, but I sent the clips of the offense from
Yeah,
Fresno State driving and then not scoring.
yeah,
And then I sent the image of the sideline and how all of the guys from Fresno State had their hands on their hips. They was frustrated. Some guys was like slamming their helmets down. I
yeah.
said, wow, that's like that's a silent killer
It is.
to feel like you're moving the ball, but you can't score. You're
Man,
moving
let's
the
talk
ball,
about
but
those
you
2
can't
points
get
you
there.
just brought up.
Yes.
Let's talk about those 2 points.
Let's get it.
The first one being that they methodically moved down the field and they did it their way. And one of the things I said coming into the game at the preview, I said that we need to control the clock because Fresno State is some fast guys. They got some little fast receivers, fast running backs. But I said if we can just control the clock, I think we'll be all good. Good. Ironically, they came out, man, and they just took their sweet time going down the field. And I said, man, this is a beautiful thing, man, to watch it. And it was just a little dump. It was no major long passes, just a little dumping and little run plays off and on, man. What's your thoughts on that?
With regards to our offense,
Yeah,
oh yes, yes. So I knew that the emphasis going into this week was going to be full game management from
yeah,
start to finish. From
yeah,
start to finish, it was my understanding that we did want to light them up and challenge their secondary. But the beautiful thing about the coaching staff that we have is they are willing and prepared to capitalize on what the opponent is lacking.
yeah,
They will capitalize on the areas that the game presents to us. And so that's why we had a very balanced rush attack. I think we had like 230 something yards
yeah,
rushing.
absolutely. Yes,
And,
sir.
and both of our primary running backs went over a
100
bill.
yards.
So
Yeah,
that was really, really great. And we haven't had anything like that in 6-7 years at USC.
yeah, yeah,
Right, I can't think of a time that we've had a balanced rush attack like that with our QB being able to get in and out and do what he does as well. So
right, right.
it looked like, okay, let's see how sound of tacklers these guys are. Let's actually determine if Fresno State is as physical in real time as they look on film, and let's see if these dudes are ready to leave the game with bloody noses like we are. And
Yeah,
you know what? For the most part, I thought Fresno State brought it, but then at the end of halftime, you know, or slightly thereafter, I saw their best defender, which was, I believe, number 32, their
yes,
safety.
sir.
He
Yep,
he was out on crutches,
yep.
and then we never wished that upon anyone, but their quarterback was also down and out, and so I said, okay, I thought we brought a certain level of
Yes.
how am I saying this right? Barbaricism. Like
Yeah.
we were barbarians out there.
Yeah. And
So
so and to be able to, these guys get hurt and to be able to impose your will and, move that ball down the field, it speaks to the offensive line being better than what a lot of people suggest that they aren't. They absolutely and there were several plays, I think I talked to you about it, where Caleb Williams almost had like a wall around him and he kind of just sat there. We'll talk about that. He sat there with the ball for a minute, and we want to speak to that too. But the offensive line, they did protect him, but you got to get it out your hand as well. What's your thoughts on that?
yeah, so that's just I think him still being a sophomore.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, I think that's a true sophomore, still understanding how to operate within the confines of NCAA
yeah,
high level football, and I believe that that's something that will be coached up. I guarantee you, our coaches do not want him holding the ball that long. I guarantee you.
right, right.
That's not. I'm sure he can take accountability for that. I'm sure he
Yeah,
recognizes, like, what, that was more like a Friday Night Lights type move
right.
when I was in high school. And it felt like that type of an environment, so I understand. You're playing under the lights. It felt kind of like back in the heyday in high
Yeah,
school
yeah,
when you was just unstoppable, right? And so I
yeah.
get it. He's trying to make a play, but at the same time, we have to manage that ball. We have to manage the health and overall safety of our entire squad. And the longer those dudes have to play and sustain blocks in terms of the big guys,
Man,
that's really challenging for them.
very
And I,
challenging.
and
Yeah,
so I guarantee you that we're going to clean that up. That I'm willing to put my dreads on it. That
yeah.
we will clean that up, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we know that Caleb. We know he knows how to manage the game. He's a good manager, master manager as well. And even though I mean, he still had great numbers last night. Threw for what, like two? We threw for like 284 passing yards, which is still considerably good.
And
And
that's a bad game for him. That's a bad game for
that's
him.
a bad game, and it's almost
Right.
300 yards passing. But here's what I want everybody to focus on when they talk about our defense. When you talked about nitpicking, a lot of people, they're still uncomfortable. Some people with the defense, but they got to understand this guy, Jake Hayner. He threw for almost 800 yards, 700 something yards. He's a gunslinger, and for USC to make them to not even allow them to score, on their first couple of possessions, I think that's speaking a lot to our cornerbacks and linebacker play.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And first of all, we had a very great overall game plan against them defensively because this is a NCAA top level, high performing, well rounded, multifaceted, multi talented, well coached university in Fresno State.
They were, man. They really were.
I don't care. You can disrespect them here if you want, but when you look on paper, that is a great football team.
Great, man.
That is well rounded in every area of the game. They have top producers and NFL talent across the board.
Yeah.
They truly do. And for us to keep those guys under 20 points when they are straining and fighting as hard as they can, that speaks volumes.
Yes.
When you are forcing a person to bend to your will and to keep them under 20 points in a game that's that competitive, where they know everything is on the line, where they know their entire collegiate reputation for this season is on the line, where they can slay this giant that has been awakened, this sleeping giant that's been awakened, where they can knock us off our swag. Are you kidding me? They brought their very best top flight, top shelf effort.
Yes.
And I cannot diminish that. And our fellas kept those boys under 20. That is phenomenal.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
It is. Not to mention, and to your point, not to mention, they beat UCLA last year. And then also mention they went toe-to-toe and almost beat Oregon last year. So this is not some Patty Cake Baker's man little team. This is somebody that wanted to come out there, and then Fresno State gives USC problems anyway. So it's like you got a double whammy here. That quarterback, Jake Hayner, man, talk about your players. That quarterback I think he was going to Washington. And of course, you got Raymond Scott, who I mentioned to you, who transferred from USC, linebacker, 4-star guy out of Los Angeles area. So what's your thoughts on that? So
yeah, it was tough to see Scott over there because I loved him at SC. He's my Jersey brother. He wore jersey number 18. I wore jersey number 18.
Yeah.
I always make it a tradition to reach out and get in fellowship with all of the guys who wear number 18. That's what we consider a legacy number there.
Yeah.
Is one you have to earn through lineage. You don't just get blessed with it. You have to earn it. So I feel like, it was tough to see him over there. And he did not have a bad game, in the opportunities that he was able to make plays and be impactful. But I think that their quarterback, and may he be whole and healthy and finish this season strong so that he can continue his uphill trajectory. He is an NFL talent, and arguably he's a top 15 quarterback in the country by my observation.
Yeah.
I believe his moxie, his leadership skills, and the fact his self-belief and delivery, like this dude is throwing darts. He is laser sharp with the ball.
Yeah.
We were able to keep him in that very frenetic pace offense that they run. We kept them tame. And they were running fast tempo.
Fast, man.
They were up and down that field, lickety split. And I could see our guys look at each other like, oh, this what they want to do? Oh, they want to make this a conditioning battle. oh, okay, let's
Yeah,
level it up. Let's level it up.
yeah,
I loved how every single person responded in our defense. There wasn't one person that I didn't think was ready to answer the call.
yeah, yeah,
And the thing is again, it looks worse than it is. It's like getting a flu shot or like your vaccines for school. You looking at it and it looks scary. The needle is coming, and then that little poke is like little doink. You're like, oh wait, that wasn't that bad. Oh, okay. So the way they drive and it just feels so bad, like oh no, and then oh wait, we stopped them again. Oh, we got another turnover. Oh, they ain't even scored.
yeah,
But we just have that little kind of nervous reaction when we
yeah,
see another color uniform advancing down the field on us. But
yeah,
at the end of
yeah,
the day,
yeah,
I don't care what they do between those 20s. You're gonna have to score. You're gonna have to score from like midfield in order to beat USC.
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe that. And
yeah.
if you cannot score in the middle, you're gonna have a tough time beating us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I think everybody has to, me and you talked about parity. We talked about parity now in college football. And I think most folks, they have to understand that this transfer portal has leveled up some stuff to the point to where, it's going to be more parity. You looked at Arkansas, who was the ranked number 10 team in the country yesterday. They had it out with, was it Missouri State?
Oh
And I
yeah,
think
Missouri
I'm not
State.
sure that's a low conference, but they gave Arkansas all they can handle. And I mean, you got different schools, these Division I AA schools. UCLA? They won they won by 1 point against South
South
Alabama. Are you kidding
Alabama.
me?
Nice. Yeah. I don't judge. I don't judge nobody. I mean, not,
Yeah,
sometimes the ball is bouncing the other team's way most of the game. Sometimes you're just out of rhythm, out of sync. I understand. It's tough to get a W. It is.
yeah,
When I played in 2005, we played like 3 or 4 games where it came down to the last maybe 6 minutes of the game before we actually won.
yeah,
Notre Dame, they called it the Bush Push.
yeah,
Look how hectic and frantic that was. Arizona State,
yeah,
they were beating us like 20 something like 21 or 24 to 3 at halftime. It was like remarkable, and it took us all game long to catch
yeah,
back up. Fresno State gave us fits, right? We played Cal that year, and dang, I think Beast Mode. I can't even remember all the spot, but
yeah.
there was just some very
Those Cal
competitive.
games, those Cal games were close, real
There was
close.
some very, and I can remember we were in we played BYU the year before, and they took us to the brink. Oregon State in the fog, they took us to like we were like, whoa, we this is way tougher than we imagined.
Right.
So anytime you can get out of there with your team intact, no severe injuries, with a W, and I mean, it is a substantial W.
Absolutely.
It's not like we barely
Yeah.
won that game.
Absolutely.
We may feel like we barely won that game, but
Yeah.
that's a false perception.
Right. Right.
What we did was we dominated that game.
Dominated the whole game.
We truly dominated that
Now,
game.
do you feel like, opposed to last game, that we didn't take our foot off the brake this time? We kind of
We
stayed
did.
with the program.
And that's why our starters stayed in significantly
Yeah.
longer, is so that we can manage the ball game from start to finish. And then when Miller got in, he did his thing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was us fighting on. And I think Caleb got his opportunity to get his lick back from last week and make
Yeah.
sure he can manage the clock, manage the ball game from start to finish, and make sure he led that team with the S on his chest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not going to hold you long, but I want to ask you some questions as to who was your offensive player of the game and who was your defense. And I'll tell you mine. I'll let you go first. Who was your offensive player of the game and who was your defensive player of the game? I know you're going to probably say the same player for me on defense.
Okay, we're gonna see. So my offensive player of the game was actually the offensive line.
Absolutely.
The entire offensive line.
Absolutely. I can live with that.
They deserve a standing ovation.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept our quarterback's jersey clean. The only time our QB hit the ground was when he decided to prolong plays that didn't necessarily need to be prolonged. I don't think anyone came clean and just put him down. So they did a really remarkable job.
Yeah.
As far as an individual player, That's going to be super tough. But I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you, I think Malcolm Epps.
Yeah, he balled.
And because he was willing to put his body on the line in the blocking game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting downfield in his routes. He got our first turnover of the game and kept our energy up with that Hail Mary pick in the end zone. That was number 19. Yeah, that was our tight end that caught that interception in that Hail Mary play, and then he scored his first touchdown. But he's been so diligent week after week after week, and not being a primary featured player. I just love his swag and his attitude and how he's a Texas guy that is a true Trojan, and I'm
absolutely
that. So I love that.
Absolutely. On defense, who'd you have?
Defense, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, Gentry showed out again.
He showed out, man. He showed out again.
He showed out again, but I gotta give it to Byrd, man.
That's my guy right there. That's what I'm gonna roll with right there.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, we're gonna have to start when he get his sacks. We got to figure out a call for him because
he need to start doing it himself because he is straight up go time.
He really does, man. He really imagine being third string 3 weeks ago to now leading the team in sacks and tackles for loss nearly.
I just don't. Here my thought process when I thought about that was like, how many other guys maybe that came in that may be third string as well that didn't have the opportunity. And, we got some other guys that they wanted to put in there or whatever, but man, Solomon Byrd is my deepest player of the game. Not only, he caused the fumble, and we don't wish injuries on nobody. Let me just tell you that right now. We don't wish no injuries, and I wish the quarterback much success in coming back, and he gets well soon. But Solomon Byrd is the reason that guy was knocked out of the game. And caused the fumble at the same time. And it was just coming up with key plays, man. So he's my defensive player of the game as well. My offensive player, I got to go with Travis Dodd, man. That guy, he was, man, he had 11 carries, 102 yards rushing, three receptions for 36 yards. So I got to go with him, man. And the way he was running that ball, he had that one on the sideline where he just bulldozed over everybody, spinning and all kind of stuff. So those are my two guys right there, man. And man, I think we still got a lot to look forward to. I think we're just reaching our potential. And you had a question, I think it was from Brian. I'm gonna still try to answer some of these questions. Brian said, "What do we think about Corvallis? The game coming up in Corvallis."
It's gonna be tough. It will be a hybrid between the Fresno State game and the Stanford game. I believe that Oregon State is a pretty much perfect blend of both of those teams.
Yeah.
That's how I feel from some of the film that I've already seen on them. So that's what we can expect. You can expect that type of power downhill, like try to out physical you. I believe that they're going to run the ball 79 to 80% of the game. That is my belief. And until we prove that we can actually stop a team from rushing on us, and gashing us the way that we have, every squad is going to try to bring their best running attack. Yeah. And but our secondary is really playing well. I think we're not missing too many tackles. We just have to control the line of scrimmage a little better. But Oregon State is going to be a similar style game.
Yes.
Imagine both of the teams, Stanford and Fresno State, merged together. So I do still believe that we could put about 45 to 50 on them both. I really do. Yeah. And we may look to be like a 24-point type. I think they're going to be under 24 points. Yes.
Slip, I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. Fight on. And I feel the same way as it relates to that game. As you guys know, Fresno State lost that game with 8 seconds left. Oregon State decided to go for it at the goal line instead of making a kick when most people would kick. And so they decided to do that. Let me answer this other question. I feel if we stay in front of Oregon State, we can match their physicality as much them together to beat us. So I believe the same thing. We can stay in front and we can match their physicality as well.
Right. I think we're more physical than what I've seen from Oregon State. I believe we're more physical overall.
Absolutely.
I think we'll play with more collision. But, Corvallis is a very challenging place to play. I never like playing there. And so that crowd that house is going to be booming. It's an evening game. you know, they don't have much to do out there, so you know it's gonna be loaded.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
yeah,
packed house. Yeah.
absolutely. Somebody just hit me with a comment question. Gordon Ames says he heard that Caleb Bullock was hurt. I haven't heard that. Yeah,
I have not heard that Caleb was hurt, but we'll see. And I mean, I can make a phone call and find out. But
yeah, yeah.
uh, hmm. and hurt might mean, you know, might need to miss 2 days of practice and recover. But I don't know about full, like, out of the game hurt. I have to look into it. I haven't heard anything on my
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Arthur, let's see. Guy Smithson says predicting the score to be 45-28 in Corvallis. Arthur Sanders says, I think we need more work on third down defense. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Third and short, we're animals. Third and long, we still have to figure out the recipe.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's the third and longs that have been hurting us, in my opinion.
yeah.
It's that is something we have to clean up. And for some reason, it just seems like our defense doesn't fully grasp, and they're still so young, so I don't want to judge them too much. But it seems like our defense has a little bit of a challenge in understanding that the way that they play in the red zone is the same type of energy that they can play in the open field.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They really have the same tenacity that they can apply when they're just like, you're not getting in the zone. You
Man,
can have that when it comes to
it seems like they turn on a light switch when they get to the goal line, and man, they just turn up.
Well, that's called a buy-in, and that's
Yeah.
that's the psychology of athletes who really believe in the product of the preparation. Because if the coach says we bend but we don't break, they're like, okay, well, we understand that we're just 3 plays away. At any given part of a defensive series, we're just 3 plays away from another turnover or getting back the ball to the offense.
Yeah, yeah.
So with that belief, you can tell that they don't hang on to bad plays. Like I remember seeing a year ago, 2 years ago, up to 4 years ago, our defensive linemen still shaking their head from missed tackles they missed 3 plays ago.
Yeah.
You can see that body language. But this team is like, what's next? Every time, all right, they got us. Okay, another 3 to shut them down. And they believe that. Another 3 to shut them down. When they get into the hot zone, into the red zone, it becomes like they're selfish. They graduate from hungry to greedy when they get into that red zone. And I love it.
Yes, I love it.
Tenacity.
I love it as well. Brian Jenkins said,
y'all can do that in the open field too, defense. If you listen, y'all can do that same thing in the open
field. Absolutely. and let's be honest about this. Some of those plays, I've seen some tackles. I'm not gonna put no numbers out there, but I've seen some missed tackles on a couple of plays. But for the most part, they've been tackling real good, real well. But I've seen a couple of missed tackles that they would have just got that. Now I think it was Solomon Byrd that dove, man, and just got somebody's foot, man. I mean, the guy, he's sacrificing his body, man. I just really love the way he's playing. Brian Jenkins said it's a different. I think he's speaking to Caleb Bullock. It's a difference between being hurt and injured. Speaking to Caleb Bullock situation. Keith, you know, he played at USC linebacker. He says I was lucky to play in the fog in Corvallis. It was like playing. He said it was like playing at Disneyland when I played them. He said he pretended to be, you know, like it was a good thing. So,
I remember that.
So he got that experience as well.
I remember that, man. Yeah.
So you can answer this if you want. I'm not going to answer this one. This is coming from Lewis. He says Corey Ford doesn't want to get his uniform dirty. Doesn't seem to want to stick his head in there. I will say this in defense of that. I've seen him stick his head in there a couple of times. It didn't get on camera last night, but and then he said stick his head in there, and he's like Gentry, Lee, Thule, Nick, and both Solomons. What's your thoughts on that? We got 81 in here right now.
So I'm just gonna have to debunk that statement, and no knock or disrespect to you. I watched the game from
sideline.
I watched the game from the sideline for about the first 27, 30 minutes, right before half. And then I went up and watched the aerial view because I wanted to see the different perspectives. So I was in a club, what we call it, 1923 or something. It's the very top of the Coliseum where you can see everything. You're literally at the stadium height where you can see the whole landscape of downtown LA, and I can see everything. Corey Foreman is a high level, high pursuit, heat sinking missile.
Yeah.
And he's very violent and very explosive. Here's the thing that has Corey, I believe, a little bit behind is Corey is a product of poor development over 2 seasons.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say 2 seasons just because this first year he's still learning how to play stand-up rush end. He's still learning how to be a hybrid D lineman / linebacker in this system. Now, if you're the type of player that is accustomed to one type of style and you've become an All-American, you're all world at this. But this particular, the way this defense is structured, you don't get to do what you do specifically very well, and you're learning on as you go. The learning curve forces you to play with a little hesitancy, and I think that's what's holding Corey back a little bit in the fact that, he's still a young guy that's caught up in reading what people say about him on Twitter, reading what people are saying about him in the media, and it's only human nature, right?
Yeah.
I commission you guys, hey, give these kids grace, because what a lot of you don't recognize is, during the prime of Corey's development, he got stuck in a pandemic.
Yeah,
and he
I think he missed the whole year, senior year of high school.
And so that's what I'm trying to tell everyone. Yes, he has a Tarzan type body, but when you're a little bit uncertain, sometimes the effort leans towards some people say it looks like Tarzan, play like Jane. That's not who he is.
Right.
He looks like Tarzan. He looks like the king of the jungle. He just still is trying to understand where he fits into this particular system. And I do recognize that the pandemic really, really forced a lot of these guys to miss almost a year of development.
Absolutely.
It's easy for us to say, oh, they should, because we say they should. But at the end of the day, he's had to learn so many different schemes since he's been there.
And that's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in.
That's a lot to take in.
He learned the whole Clay Helton scheme, right?
Hey, speaking to that, and I want you to continue. David said anyone who was coached by Clay Helton should be given a grace period for only 1 season. That's speaking to what you just said.
So here's what I'm saying. He was coached by Clay Helton in that defense. And then that coach got blessed with another situation that's probably more suited for him.
Right.
Then Coach Dante became his coach, which is also a different type of defensive philosophy and mindset. So he had to learn that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then that ends its course. And then he comes in with a whole entire different scheme.
Yes.
So this man has had 3 different defensive coaches in a year and a half. That's tough when you play for USC.
Gordon Ames just said, speaking of exactly what you're saying right now, Gordon Ames just said, sounds like Foreman has the same problem like Drake Jackson. And we remember under Pendergrass, Jake Jackson's first year, man, he looked like he could have went to the NFL, a first-round pick after that first year. Todd Orlando came by, and, man, everything just changed with Drake Jackson, man. It was like, where is he at? And it was not his fault. It's kind of like what you're saying. Is the same type of development was kind of messed up.
I believe Corey's going to be a monster. Here's what I'm going to say. We have goals for Corey Foreman that he may not even have for himself at this moment.
Yeah.
And we don't know what he has decided to accomplish this season. And we don't know what he's working through or trying to overcome. There was some time where he needed to take some time away from the team going into fall camp.
Yes, I heard about that.
And nobody knows what types of things are going on in these personal lives. But when I tell you, when I see him train and prepare in that practice and what he's doing pregame, he looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I believe he's just one couple of breakthrough moments and plays away where he gets that level of validation and the game catches up with the body and everything that he's able to do. And I believe that with my whole heart. So you guys have grace for him as well as all the other young guys that are coming, because these guys are still very young.
Absolutely. And one of the things I think need to be considered, almost like a first-round draft pick, it's so much pressure on, those individuals that's drafted in the first round. And, Corey was the #1 player overall completely. And that is a lot of pressure. I mean, everybody in the country know him as the #1 player. So it's no telling what's going on through his mind. And yeah, we just gotta hope. My hope is, and what I think, Solomon Byrd moving up, I think he can kind of mimic that play and that drive and that work ethic that Solomon Byrd had. Even the moves, I think he can do the same thing. And it's good to kind of sit behind somebody like that and be able to see. Because let's face it, Byrd he's a senior. This guy has been playing college football for a few years now, so he got
That's
some
right.
experience.
And
And
he was
so
successful at Wyoming. He was successful
very
at the other
successful,
place.
very
Yeah.
successful. So I think it's a good deal. Let's see, Roger. No pressure on Corey with Byrd starting. Absolutely. That's what, yeah, kind of like what I just said. Be skills. I think Corey will contribute. He is contributing. I just, whether you're watching it on film or what position you're looking at or on TV, I did see him moving around. He didn't have a sack, but I did see him contribute, whether it's to be an assist or
I
whatever the
saw him.
case may be.
I saw him be very violent as well.
Yeah,
I saw him very violent on contact. I saw him backside pursuing like crazy. I
yeah,
believe that he's just gonna get more and more. See, the thing is as there was no one for him to look up to when he got to USC.
yeah,
There was no player to say, hey, let me show you how to play this position at this level. They just
yeah,
said, okay, Corey, you're our number one guy. Do it.
yeah,
It's up to you. He needed a big brother. We all did. I needed Troy Polamalu to sit my butt down and say, Jay Walk, this is how you actually cover deep third with this type of formation. I needed the big brother.
yeah,
And Corey, I don't believe he's had that yet, and now he does with Solomon.
yeah,
And so guys, mark my words, he's gonna be just fine.
yeah, yeah. Gordon Name says maybe Bird has one more year because of COVID. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I just know he's a senior. I mean, I hope he does have one more. I hope he got 3 more years left. The way he's playing right about
That's
now.
right. That's
I
right.
mean, Solomon Bird is balling, but we're not gonna hold you up. One couple more things, and then we're gonna let you go. You guys got any questions? Come on in. Let's see. Darnell Smith, Drake Jackson was his big brother. Yeah, he was. He was. He was, but Drake is gone. And matter of fact, they went to the same high school, Centennial, together.
That's
And
right.
so, yeah, he definitely knew. He probably felt heartbroken that he even left. But
That he left early. That's
yes,
right.
that he left early. Yeah. So 2 questions. Major mistakes that we made on offense and major mistakes that we made on defense, and we're gonna wrap it up. And looking forward, what do we need? You think we need to do?
Okay, got it. So I believe the major mistake on offense was holding the ball too long in the pocket, getting ticky-tack penalties with like too many men upfield, blocking before the ball was released upfield, and that all is a matter of timing. Those
Yeah,
are all timing type of penalties that will cost us exponentially in bigger moments against
yes,
bigger competition.
yes,
Uh, Now, the biggest mistakes on defense is just, I believe that we don't fully recognize the urgency of getting off the field in 3rd and long.
right.
I think that those are just like slight mental lapses because it just feels so safe to think, oh man, 3rd and 15. Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
stopped them. We'd be
yeah,
stopping them on 3rd and 6. So they definitely not gonna get
yeah,
15. But no. Like
yeah,
the urgency has to level up, and they need to be bloodthirsty. I mean,
yeah,
bloodthirsty psycho killers on 3rd and anything. And that right there, those are stolen possessions because the thing that I was really worrisome about was when our offense in our true drop back route progressions, I think we punted three
yeah,
times or 4 times
yeah,
maybe
yes,
without any like real hard pass rush or anything. It was just our offense didn't execute.
right, right, right.
Right? It means our receivers were pretty covered. And
Well,
so
to your point,
go ahead.
somebody just gave Kevin Randolph. Do you feel that our receivers are underperforming? That's to your point. I just want to kind of get the questions that's aligned with what you're saying.
No, because I still know how simple our offense is. We haven't shown anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't given up any of our offense yet.
yeah,
Our offensive package is like we ran screens this game, and in the game before that we ran little hitches and dinkers, and we ran
yeah,
a few screens the last game. We
yeah,
only attacked the field vertical twice
yeah,
in the whole season, I believe, and the other 2 in Stanford were like weird little that weird fourth quarter drive where we just threw them away. But wait till we start putting our combinations and routes together. So no, our receivers are not underperforming. They're actually, I would argue, they're bored.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and you know, anytime they want to go vertical, I think they got that ability to do it. But I think, like we mentioned in the beginning, I think the control the clock was one of those things that we had to try to make it, a main priority, just to be able to. We don't want to put too much stress on our defense as well, and that's something that has to be considered. We can't have everything at the same time and be able to make everything happen at the same time. We have to give up some things to gain some things,
That's
and I
right,
think
guys.
that's one of the things that we had to do
That's
was
right.
make it happen like that. Brian Jenkins, and we get ready to shut it down. What percentage of playbook would you say Riley has used?
15% at most.
And that's 15%.
15%
Wow.
at most. I've seen some of the route combos, and I'm just thinking, yes, yes, yes. There's about 4 or 5 variations off of every formation that he has,
Yeah.
and you can't even. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Oregon State has a lot to think about. They have a
Yeah.
lot to consider, and I promise you, we're going to have wrinkles for Oregon State that they would not have seen coming,
Right.
because again, it's a Pac-12 game.
Yeah.
We're in
Yeah.
conference, and we have to win very sizably in our conference.
I watched it. I watched a little bit of film, and that quarterback really didn't impress me at all as
We
far as
know we're gonna
Oregon State.
we're gonna do very well.
Yeah, his mobility wasn't all that hot to me, and I just wasn't impressed at all with him. Like, it's just the Fresno State quarterback much better than him.
Yep, and I think we have the two best running backs in the conference. I believe we have the best
Absolutely.
offensive line. We have the best receiving core. We have the best quarterback,
Yeah,
and we do right now statistically. I think we might even have the best secondary because we're not giving up
they're
too
good,
many.
man. They really are good.
I believe statistically we are, but we definitely have the best defense overall because
Yeah,
of points allowed. And
yeah,
it's one thing to give up 500 yards, but if those 500 yards don't lead to points, what we're not trying. Look, guys, the teams that we play do not get extra credit or extra bonus points for getting a lot of yards.
right,
They don't.
right.
They better put points on the board. And so far, Grinch is killing the game by keeping the score differential way in our favor. So
Absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm trying to tell you guys, you have to respect the type of brilliance that this stuff is, even though it doesn't look like what you want or consider it ideal. The effectiveness is it's like a false confidence that these offenses get that really deflates them when they can't convert 6 points at the end of those long, hard fought drives.
Yeah,
That is demoralizing and it leads to injury too, because you go in there and start thinking you got to do extra as an offensive player or as a defensive player. We got to do extra. And when you try to overextend or play outside of your team, that's where your body breaks down. And I'm starting to see it. I'm like, wow. In these last games we've played, key contributors to the other team are starting to break down by the end of the
yeah,
game because they feel like they have to do more.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
K Product says Oregon State has the best corners in the conference. Well, I'm gonna say this: Fresno State, they ran all over them. As far as those receivers, man. I mean, they kind of had their way. So I think our receivers are way better than Fresno State's. So we could kind of, and then somebody else, and we're gonna shut down. Somebody else says Dylan Gabriel, NCNSIF. Dylan Gabriel has small hands. I don't even know. Hey, that's the quarterback that's at Oklahoma. I don't. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Okay,
That's just so
man.
funny.
Hey, so look, man, we're gonna get ready and shut this thing down. And listen, we appreciate John for coming on in and tapping in. He's out and about right now. I think he said he's over at Venice Beach enjoying himself, man. Don't go get
Yes.
no surfboard, man, and go ride the waves, all right?
Man, you see this, brother? You know I can't surf. You talking about some surf?
Yeah,
You talking about some
yeah,
surf?
yeah. Hey, hey, you do your thing over there, man. Enjoy the family. And
Brother.
we appreciate everybody for tapping in with us, man. Listen, we got some big things happening with this. So, man, John, anything you want to say before we get
I
out of it?
I sure do. I sure do. Brother, I see that you are doing so much wonderful work within just the integrity of media,
Yeah.
and you are transcending what the average like host of this type of a show is doing. And I
Right.
watch a lot of them. There's a lot that I'm a fan of, but the authenticity that you bring to this platform is so remarkable. It's so
Yeah.
refreshing, guys. Love on what we have access here. Love on it. Subscribe, share the channel, please. It helps. You know, I don't like asking for favors. I actually hate asking for favors. But what I'm gonna say, on the strength of us growing a very strong bond, and just reach out to me, reach out to Big Brother Jay, and show this platform some love, because I think
Absolutely.
there's more room. And if he can continue to do this, what he's doing, and traject the right way, he's going to get his sideline credentials. He's going to get his media credentials. He's going to be viewed and recognized as a credible media source, and USC will give him access to more exclusive content for us.
Absolutely.
And I
And
believe
John,
that
you could, I mean, you
this
can,
is what we are.
me and John are working on some things, and whenever we get the details together, we'll get, I mean, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about that, but you can kind of, I guess, kind of, you know, just whatever.
Well, God willing, we'll be able to come together more consistently, outside of just post and pregame breakdowns, but to just create breaking news about USC football and USC athletics, football specifically. This is my little baby in the back. Come on, sit, come here, baby. This is my daughter, Lala.
Tell her to throw that thing up. Tell her to throw it up. Tell her to throw it up. Yeah.
She knows, so. That's my youngest right here.
All
Yeah,
right.
that family's having dinner while we're just fellowshipping. But we're hoping to create like a video live cast or some type of a podcast. We're still working out the details. But hey, if you guys got any cool names for us, we're open to suggestions. But we definitely want you guys to be a part of this family. And the truth of the matter is, we need you.
Absolutely.
I mean, as sincere as I could be, we need you all. We need you guys to share in this, and let's grow this thing organically and do it with a great purpose and a great spirit of fellowship. You know, we're not about negativity. We don't talk down about any of our opponents. We speak as, forgive me, I'm out and about, you hear those sirens. But I'm in Venice Beach, LA. It's crazy out here. Hope everybody's okay. But the truth is we need you. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do it. Share it with everyone, and let's build this fellowship. Let's try to get this thing up to 3,000. 3,000 folks by the end of this month. We can do it together. We can.
Absolutely.
And then that way we can leverage what we have here and then present ourselves as very credible resources. And he can go backstage and behind the scenes in the program. But the only way we do that is with bolstered credibility, and we need you guys for that. So thank you for your support. Fight on. I'm John Walker Pro on Instagram. Reach out to me. I'm a real person. I am a real guy, and I will respond to you for sure.
Absolutely. We appreciate, we got 81 in here. John, I appreciate those comments, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate everybody, all 81 for tapping in. And listen, we got some good things coming up. Of course, you guys know I'm going to do some other stuff tomorrow, recruiting and all that good stuff throughout the week. John, you have something else you want to say?
I love you all. Fight on.
Likewise. Likewise. So listen, until we get, we're going to let John go get, his food probably getting cold over there. So we're going to let him get to his food, man. All right. So listen, to everybody, appreciate you tapping in. Fight on, fight. Hey. Here we go. Hey, throw up the deuce. Make sure you go show it back on YouTube. All right. Fight on,
guys. Much love.